The family of tragic teen Jay Slater has released a full obituary ahead of his funeral, painting an emotional portrait of a young life cut short and announcing a new fundraiser to ensure his memory will live on. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. What follows is not simply a set of dates and names, it is the story of a boy who lived boldly, laughed loudly, and loved deeply, even if his time on earth was far too brief. A life too short, but filled with light. J. William Slater was born on a warm spring day in Oswaldtwistle, Lincolnshire, to parents Debbie Duncan and Martin Slater. From the very beginning, Jay's family recalls, he had an old soul's eyes, but a mischievous grin, the kind that made everyone in the room instantly soften. His mother often said Jay's laughter arrived before he did. He had a knack for turning the dullest moments into something electric, whether through a sarcastic one-liner, a dramatic impression of his mates, or simply his unstoppable energy. From childhood, Jay was fiercely independent. By the age of 8, he was already climbing trees higher than anyone dared, always determined to prove himself braver, faster, louder. He was the boy with scuffed trainers and mud on his jeans, racing home only when the streetlights flickered on. At school, Jay wasn't the quiet type. He was the kid who stuck up for his friends, even when it got him into trouble. Teachers noted his sharp wit and cheeky resilience. Friends noted his loyalty, the kind that meant if you were in a fight, Jay was already there swinging beside you. A teenager with big dreams. By his teens, Jay had grown into a young man who mixed street-smart grit with a magnetic charm. Apprenticing as a bricklayer, he often told his family that he wanted to build more than walls. He wanted to build a life worth living. He was fiercely close to his mum Debbie, often teasing her but never letting a day pass without checking in. Even when he was out with his mates, I'd get a text, Debbie recalls in the obituary. "You good, Mum?" Just like that. He was my boy, my anchor, my reason for everything. Jay dreamed of seeing the world. He loved the idea of freedom, of waking up in new places and making memories he could brag about. His friends say he lived for holidays, festivals, and late-night adventures. He wasn't the kind to sit in one place, his cousin wrote. He wanted to taste life, every bit of it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The Tenerife Tragedy. Jay's final holiday, a trip to Tenerife with friends, was supposed to be just another adventure, sun, music, and carefree days. But on June 17th, everything changed. The days that followed were a blur of desperate searching, social media appeals, and international headlines. For his family, it was agony, every hour stretched into an eternity, waiting for news that never came. When confirmation of his death finally arrived, the grief was indescribable. "It's every parent's worst nightmare," Debbie said quietly. "I kept thinking he would walk through the door, still with that grin on his face. But he never did," a boy remembered. The obituary written by his family is raw, tender, and brimming with love. It remembers not just the tragedy of Jay's passing, but the joy of his living. Jay was sunshine wrapped in cheekiness. He gave his heart without asking for anything back. He was stubborn as a mule, but generous to a fault. He loved his friends like family, and he loved his family more than words can hold. His laugh was a song, and now the silence hurts more than we can bear. The family recalls how Jay never walked into a room quietly. He exploded in, with a voice that filled the space. He loved his trainers, his music loud, his nights long. He wasn't perfect, he was a whirlwind, but he was theirs. We cannot believe our boy is gone. But we know he lived his short life fully, wildly, and with no regrets. And for that, we are grateful, even through the pain. The funeral plans. Jay's funeral is set to take place in his hometown, with hundreds expected to attend. Friends have described it as a celebration of a life cut short, but never forgotten. His family has requested that mourners wear touches of bright color, because Jay hated boring black and would want everyone to turn up as bold as him. The service will include readings from his closest friends, a slideshow of his happiest moments, and his favorite songs played loud enough to shake the walls one more time. The fundraiser for his legacy. Alongside the obituary, the Slater family announced a new fundraiser, not for themselves, but for the causes Jay cared about. The fund, called Jay's Light, will support youth mental health charities, community sports programs, and travel grants for underprivileged teens who dream of seeing the world. We want Jay's name to mean more than tragedy, Debbie explained. We want it to mean hope. He loved adventure, he loved his mates, and he hated seeing anyone struggle. This fund will give back in his name. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Already, thousands of pounds have poured in. Friends have pledged fundraising football matches, charity runs, and even tattoo tributes, with donations going directly to the cause. It's what Jay would want, his best friend said. He'd want the party to keep going, but in a way that helps others. Messages from friends and family. The obituary includes heartbreaking tributes from those who knew him best. Lucy Maylaw, his best friend, wrote, "Jay was my brother, my protector, my partner in chaos. I don't know how to live without him, but I know he'll be laughing at me crying. He'd tell me to chin up, then drag me out for chips. I'll miss him forever." His father Martin said, "Jay had my stubborn streak, no doubt about it. But he had his mum's heart. He was a good lad, a grafter, and he had big plans. I just wish I could have seen them all come true." His younger cousins described him as the big kid who never stopped playing and the cousin who always picked us first for football. The family has also received messages from strangers across the world, many of whom followed the desperate search online. To know so many people cared about Jay is overwhelming, Debbie admitted. It shows how one life, even cut short, can touch thousands. The pain and the healing. The obituary does not shy away from the raw truth of grief. "We are broken," it reads simply. No parent should ever have to write these words. No family should ever have to bury their child. But we hold each other up, and we hold Jay's memory close. At the same time, it emphasizes the family's determination to turn loss into legacy. "We will not let his story end in sorrow alone," Debbie insisted. "Jay's life will mean something. His name will shine. A community united." Since Jay's death, his hometown has been united in grief and remembrance. Murals of him have appeared on brick walls, candlelit vigils have been held in parks, and friends have launched balloon releases in his memory. Local schools have pledged to keep his story alive, teaching students about resilience, friendship, and the fragility of life. Jay's energy was unstoppable, one teacher wrote. Now, even in death, it pushes us to care for each other more fiercely. Carrying Jay forward. The obituary closes with words that read like a promise, not just a goodbye. Jay will live on in every laugh, every adventure, every friend's story told at midnight. He is not gone. He is everywhere we carry him. And we will carry him always. As the funeral approaches, the Slater family knows the grief will not end, but they hope the love and support surrounding them will make it bearable. The fundraiser, the tributes, and the memories are their way of ensuring Jay's story does not fade. For a boy who wanted nothing more than to live boldly, perhaps that is the truest legacy, to be remembered not just for how he died, but for how he lived. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.